Hi, it's Alex Shapovalov from Yaplex, and in this video I will show how to use CloudWatch Logs from .NET application using Serilog library. I already have a blog post about it, so if you prefer a text version, you can read it at yaplex.com/cloudwatch-logs. This demo is pretty much the same content, but for somebody who prefers YouTube format. First, let's understand why do we want to log into AWS CloudWatch. We already use Serilog, so we can use a file sync and log into text file on the EC2 instance. That is perfectly fine when you have just a single instance of your application running on a single EC2 machine. The problem is when you have multiple instances running as part of load balancing, or when you have distributed system running on multiple microservices and you need to get all logs related to a particular correlation ID. That would be difficult. You need to log in into each EC2 instance and download logs for later aggregation and search. So typically, that can be solved with centralized logging system. In the past, I used Elk Stack, which is Elasticsearch, Logstash, and Kibana. That works great for distributed systems, particularly with microservices. It is easy to search later and visualize logs. We also can use Elk Stack on Amazon, but there is a better solution, CloudWatch. CloudWatch is not only logging system, it's complete monitoring solution for your application. However, in our case, we are interested only in logging functionality. For this demo, I will show you two NuGet library. One is from AWS, it's called AWS login.net. And second is from Simpress. It's Serilog syncs AWS CloudWatch. Before we start coding something in Visual Studio, let's navigate to AWS console and see what we need to configure there. Click in the search box and type CloudWatch and choose Log submenu. Actually, we need log groups first, and we will go to log insights later in this video. So, what is AWS CloudWatch log group? It's a logical container for logs in CloudWatch. It serves as a way to organize and manage logs generated by various AWS resources. For example, EC2 instances, Lambda functions, AWS Glue, and so other. In your account, you may already have a bunch of different log groups created, depending on how you used your account before. Let's create a new log group. Click on the Create Log Group button and we are navigated to a form where we need to provide log group name. You can put anything you want there. There is no strict rules. But I suggest something like a company name, then application name and capability. Or it can be microservice name. In our case, it's Yaplex, Hello World, and Hello World API. Retention settings directly affect your CloudWatch pricing. It tells how long AWS will store your logs, and considering that you pay per gigabyte, you need to find a balance between keeping enough logs to investigate issues and keep your costs down. In our case, I will choose 1 week, which means all logs older than 1 week will be automatically removed from AWS. Log class is also affect pricing. There are two classes, standard and infrequent access. Standard has more features, for example live tail, but at the same time it also is twice as expensive. It costs 50 cents per gigabyte and infrequent access costs 25 cents per gigabyte. In my case, I will go with standard. Key management service is for the logs encryption, but we are not going to do it right now. Now our log group is created. But before we continue, I also suggest to review pricing for CloudWatch. That will show you in details how much it will cost and also help you to identify what features you want to use based on the price. Now let's create a Visual Studio project. We want to create a Web API project using .NET 8, and we keep all the default settings. Before we start logging to CloudWatch, let's configure our Serilog to save into the file on your local machine. I already have a code snippet ready, so all we need to do is add our missing NuGet packages, such as Serilog, Serilog file syncs, and also Serilog console. Now let's run our application just to make sure everything works fine and we can log on the file system. As you can see, the message was successfully logged and we can open it. Now let's start to log into AWS CloudWatch. I already have a code snippet ready for that. As you see, we need to provide access key, secret key, log group, and prefix. First, let's resolve all references and add missing NuGet packages. So we are interested in AWS Logger Serilog NuGet package. We already created our log group, so put the value in the code. And let's go and create access key and secret key in AWS console. To create a user, type IAM and go to the user page. Here we can create a user, give it a name, and click next. We need to attach policy to the user. Policy tells what permissions this user has. And we need the CloudWatch Logs full access. Click next and create user. Now when the user is created, we need to create access key. Click on the create access key, choose local code because we are running it on our local machine. Put some description for this access key and copy values and put them back in Visual Studio. Let's clean up a little and remove old code. Let's also assign to global shared variable log.logger the value of our CloudWatch Logger configuration so we can access it from any part of the application. And let's add file logging together with CloudWatch. Now we are ready to start our application. Let's run it and then go to CloudWatch and see if we have any new logs there. As you can see, we have a new record. Let's go inside and see what do we have. That is exactly what we logged from our application. As you see, we log in JSON format. However, by default, if you don't provide JSON formatter, it will log it as a string. Let's remove it and try again. Now let's go back to CloudWatch. We have a new record, and as you see, that messages are in plain text. Now let's use a different NuGet library. First, replace where we write our logs, do a bit of cleanup, and add missing NuGet package. We have our authentication and the region where we are logging our messages. Let's also update prefix for the logger. So now we are going to send logs to CloudWatch again by running application and then check if they were successfully delivered there. As you can see, we have only 2 log messages, while our application was sending 4 messages. And the reason for that, it's sending logs in a batch. So we are going to reduce time bulk upload period in seconds to 1 second, so it will be sending logs faster. And now we can run application again and check CloudWatch, where we can see all 4 messages successfully delivered. Now, when we learn how to write logs, let's see what we can do later with them. So we are going to query logs from Log Insights. Select where you want to pull logs and run the default query. It will return all logs we sent from both of our tests. But what if we're interested only in errors? That can be done by changing filter. And I actually already have a query saved into the queries tab. So let's load it from there and run. Okay, we have an error. That's because log group where I saved this query is different than this one. So let's update it and run again. As you can see, we have only error messages in the output. Thanks for watching this tutorial. I hope you liked it. And if you did, please press the like button and let me know in the comments your feedback. If you didn't like the video, please tell me why and how I can improve in the future.